You've probably been told that losing fat is all about eating less and moving more, but there's something else quietly working behind the scenes, a small dot hormone that controls how fast or slow your body burns fat. That hormone is insulin. Most people only think about insulin when it comes to diabetes, but it actually plays a key role in every successful or failed weight loss story. In the next few minutes, you'll discover a simple insulin trick that few people know about, one that can help you burn fat faster, boost your energy, and finally understand why your body holds on to extra weight. Insulin is a hormone produced by your pancreas to manage blood sugar levels. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises. Insulin then moves that sugar into your cells to be used for energy. That sounds good, but here's the catch. Insulin doesn't just move sugar. It also signals your body to store fat rather than burn it. When insulin levels stay high, your body gets a clear message. Store energy, don't burn it. Fat burning shuts down. That's why people who snack all day, drink sugary beverages, or start the day with high-carb breakfast often struggle to lose weight. Their insulin levels stay high all day, preventing fat burning even when they eat less. And insulin isn't only triggered by sugar, it can also rise due to stress, poor sleep, or eating too frequently. Even if your meals are healthy, this means your daily habits can keep insulin elevated without you realizing it. Research shows that when people lower their insulin levels through smarter eating patterns and lifestyle changes, they not only lose fat faster, but also keep it off more easily. Energy increases, cravings drop, and their metabolism becomes more efficient, almost like flipping a hidden fat-burning switch in the body. The best part is you don't need extreme diets or intense workouts to make this happen. The insulin trick works naturally with your body, not against it. You'll learn how insulin influences hunger, cravings, energy, and fat storage, and how to use it to your advantage. For example, skipping certain snacks can make a bigger difference than cutting full meals. Timing your carbohydrate intake when your body handles them best can speed up fat loss. Eating a bit more protein and fiber at the right times helps steady insulin and keeps you full longer. There's also a powerful connection between insulin and hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin. When insulin stays high, it confuses your hunger signals, making you crave food even when you're not hungry. Lowering insulin naturally helps reset those signals so your appetite becomes balanced again. Every time insulin drops for a few hours, your body automatically switches into fat burning mode. That's how intermittent fasting and low-carb meals work, not through magic, but by giving insulin time to fall. When insulin drops, your body turns on fat burning. Think of insulin as a switch. High insulin means store fat, low insulin means burn fat. Once you learn how to control that switch, losing weight becomes much easier. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to lower insulin naturally and safely with simple, sustainable steps. You'll know how to plan meals to avoid constant spikes, use fasting windows effectively, and combine nutrients to balance blood sugar and extend fat burning periods. This isn't a quick fix. It's about understanding how your body really works and using that knowledge for lasting results. Stay with me because you're about to discover the insulin trick that most people overlook, a science-backed, research-supported method that helps you lose fat faster without starving or spending hours in the gym. In just a moment, we'll dive deeper into how insulin controls your body's fat-burning potential and how one simple change in your eating pattern can completely transform your results. Welcome to our channel where we share real science-based health and weight loss insights in clear, practical steps. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video that could help you improve your health and energy. Let's begin the journey to understand the one hormone that controls your weight loss more than anything else, insulin. Here's where many people get stuck without realizing it, and that from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep, they eat in a way that keeps insulin high all day. Breakfast often starts with carbs, bread, cereal, fruit juice, maybe some sugar in tea or coffee. Within minutes, insulin rises. Then comes a mid-morning snack, another spike. Lunch brings rice or bread again, followed by tea and biscuits in the afternoon. Dinner often ends up being the heaviest meal of the day, filled with rice, roti, or pasta, followed by something sweet. This constant eating pattern means insulin never really drops. When it stays high throughout the day, the body remains stuck in storage mode. Instead of burning stored fat for energy, it keeps locking more of it away. That's why some people struggle to lose weight even when they're eating less. The body isn't short on fat. It's simply not allowed to use it. Insulin stands guard, blocking fat from being released as fuel. The effects go beyond fat storage. Chronically high insulin also changes how hungry you feel. It makes you crave quick sources of energy like sugar and refined carbs because your cells stop responding properly to insulin signals. The brain is tricked into thinking it needs more food, even though plenty of energy is already stored. This is why people often feel hungry or tired just a few hours after a carb-heavy meal. It's not lack of willpower, it's the body reacting to elevated insulin levels. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance, a condition where the cells no longer respond effectively to insulin. The body compensates by producing even more, which worsens the problem: more insulin, more fat storage, stronger cravings, and lower energy. It becomes a frustrating cycle that feels impossible to escape. Modern eating habits make things worse. Many people eat 5 or 6 times a day, full meals, snacks, coffee with milk and sugar, little treats here and there. This constant intake gives insulin no time to fall, so the body never gets a chance to enter a true fat-burning state. Combine that with little physical activity, poor sleep, and daily stress, all of which raise insulin even more, and it's no surprise that weight gain and fatigue become common. That's why certain diets like low-carb, keto, or intermittent fasting seem to work. They aren't magic. They simply give insulin a break. By reducing how often insulin spikes, these approaches allow it to drop between meals. Once it does, the body can finally tap into stored fat for energy, and weight loss begins naturally. Even small lifestyle changes can make a noticeable difference. Reducing meal frequency, avoiding unnecessary snacks, cutting back on refined carbs, and including more protein and healthy fats can help lower insulin levels. As insulin stabilizes, hunger becomes easier to control, energy levels rise, and the body starts using stored fat again. Chronically high insulin is one of the hidden reasons so many people feel stuck, tired, and frustrated with their progress. It's not just about calories in and calories out, it's about how your body processes those calories, and insulin determines that every single. Here's the part most people never learn: the actual insulin trick. It's not a pill or a supplement, but a simple shift in timing and food combination that helps your body lower insulin naturally, allowing it to burn fat instead of storing it. The key is to create what's called an insulin window, a period during the diet day when insulin levels drop low enough for fat burning to switch on. Most people never reach this state because they eat too frequently. But when you allow several hours between meals or create structured eating times, insulin gets a chance to calm down, and your body begins to access stored fat for energy. Here's how it works. After you eat, blood sugar rises and insulin follows to manage it. It takes a few hours for insulin to fall back down. If you eat again before that happens, it spikes once more, resetting the fat burning process. But if you wait long enough, around 4 to 5 hours between meals, or keep an overnight fasting window of sure R2, sure C hours, insulin finally drops low enough for your body to switch gears. In this low insulin state, fat stored in your tissues becomes available as fuel, and your body starts using what's already there instead of relying on constant food energy. Food pairing also plays a big role. When you eat carbohydrates alone, insulin spikes quickly, but when you combine carbs with protein, fiber, or healthy fats, the rise becomes smaller and steadier. For example, pairing rice with lentils or chicken slows digestion and keeps insulin stable. Adding vegetables high in fiber further smooths out blood sugar levels creating a longer, steadier energy curve and less hunger between meals. The timing of carbohydrate intake matters too. Your body handles carbs better when you're active, usually earlier, night in the day or around times when you move more. That's when your muscles are most sensitive to insulin, meaning glucose is used for fuel instead of being stored as fat. Eating most of your carbs around active hours and reducing them at night helps insulin work in your favor. Another effective habit is giving insulin a proper overnight break. Late dinners and midnight snacks keep insulin elevated even while you sleep. Finishing dinner 2 to 3 hours before bed and avoiding food until breakfast allows insulin to stay low for several hours, giving your body time to burn stored fat for energy. This simple overnight window can make a significant difference over time. It all comes down to understanding insulin's core function, managing energy. When it's high, the body stores energy. Um, when it's low, the body releases and burns that energy. Learning how to guide this natural rhythm through meal timing, food pairing, and mindful eating is the real key to unlocking steady, lasting fat loss. When insulin levels are low, your body releases stored energy. This means fat loss depends not only on what you eat, but also on when insulin is allowed to drop. People who naturally have longer gaps between meals or avoid sugary snacks spend more time in a low insulin state, and that's when fat burning becomes truly effective. Small, consistent changes can trigger big results. Something as simple as skipping a mid-morning snack, replacing a sugary drink with water, or adding more protein to breakfast can help flatten insulin spikes. Over time, these small adjustments extend the periods of low insulin, allowing the body to burn fat more steadily. This is the essence of the insulin trick: timing, pairing, and resting your insulin so it can naturally fall. Once insulin gets room to drop, your metabolism begins to shift, energy levels stabilize, and your body returns to its natural fat-burning rhythm. Now that you understand how the insulin trick works, it's time to apply it in simple, practical steps that fit easily into your routine. Each of these helps your body lower insulin naturally and stay in fat-burning mode longer. Step 1, adjust your first meal of the day. Your morning meal sets the tone for your metabolism. If it's full of sugar or refined carbs like white bread, cereal, or sweet tea, insulin spikes immediately, leading to energy crashes and cravings later. Start your day instead with a balanced meal containing protein, healthy fat, and fiber options like eggs, yogurt, nuts, or lentils. These foods keep your blood sugar steady so insulin rises gently and falls smoothly. By avoiding that first big surge, you keep energy stable and fat burning more consistent throughout the day. Step 2, time your carbohydrates around activity. Your body handles carbs best when your muscles are active. During or after physical movement, cells are more sensitive to insulin, meaning glucose is used for energy instead of being stored as fat. Save your heavier carb meals for times close to physical activity. For example, lunch after a walk or dinner after light exercise. Eating carbs late at night when you're inactive causes insulin to stay high longer and slows fat burning. Proper timing lets you keep carbs in your diet without hurting progress. Step 3, use insulin breaks with fasting windows or low-carb days. Your body needs time when insulin remains low so it can release stored fat. You can do this by spacing meals further apart or having occasional low-carb days. For example, if you eat breakfast at about 8 a.m. and dinner at about p.m., avoid late-night snacks. That gives your body a 0-hour fasting window overnight, allowing insulin to drop and fat burning to activate. On some days, reduce carb-heavy foods and focus on vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats. These small breaks help reset insulin sensitivity and boost metabolism. Step 4, avoid constant snacking. Every bite of food triggers insulin, even small ones. Many believe that eating frequent small meals keeps metabolism high, but it actually keeps insulin constantly elevated. Stick to 2 or 3 main meals and skip unnecessary snacks. If you truly need something between meals, go for foods that don't spike insulin: nuts, boiled eggs, or plain yogurt. Longer breaks between meals allow insulin to rest and create more time for fat burning. Step 5, combine foods smartly. Proper food pairing helps control insulin. Eating carbohydrates with protein or fat slows down digestion, preventing sharp spikes. Pair rice with lentils, beans, or chicken. Have bread with avocado or peanut butter. Include fiber-rich vegetables in every meal to further slow the release of sugar into the blood. This balanced approach stabilizes insulin, reduces cravings, and helps you feel full longer. Step 6, move a little after meals. A short walk after eating helps your muscles absorb glucose, which naturally lowers insulin levels. It doesn't need to be intense. Even a minute stroll makes a difference. This simple habit helps insulin work efficiently and shortens the time it stays high in your system. Step 7, prioritize sleep and manage stress. Lack of sleep and chronic stress raise cortisol, a hormone that also elevates insulin even if your diet is perfect. Poor sleep can stall progress and trigger cravings. aim for at least 7 hours of rest each night, and include calming habits like deep breathing or stretching to keep stress low. When cortisol stays balanced, insulin follows, allowing your body to burn fat more effectively. All these steps directly influence how insulin behaves in your body. So, each small, realistic change helps shift your metabolism from constant storage mode into a natural fat burning rhythm throughout the day and night. But, even though the insulin trick is simple, many people struggle to see results because of a few common mistakes that keep insulin high without realizing it. These silent traps can undo your progress and prevent your body from switching fully into fat burning mode. The first major mistake is snacking too often. Many people believe that eating small, frequent meals keeps their metabolism active. But in reality, every time you eat even a small snack, insulin rises. A handful of nuts, a biscuit with tea, or a spoonful of peanut butter between meals might seem harmless, yet each bite prevents insulin from fully dropping. When insulin never gets the chance to fall, your body can't enter that low insulin fat burning state. The more often you eat, the more time insulin spends elevated and the less time your body spends using stored fat for energy. Even low-calorie or healthy snacks can have this effect if you eat them too frequently. Allowing proper gaps between meals is essential to give insulin time to settle and let fat burning begin. The second big mistake is eating too little or starving yourself in an effort to lose weight faster. Many people drastically cut calories, assuming that less food means less insulin, but this can backfire. When your body senses food scarcity, stress hormones like cortisol rise, and cortisol can trigger higher insulin levels even when you're eating very little. At the same time, your metabolism slows to conserve energy, leaving you tired, cold, and hungry. Eventually, this leads to overeating, which causes insulin spikes and crashes. Sustainable fat loss doesn't come from starvation, it comes from balanced meals that keep insulin steady without triggering stress responses. Another major mistake is ignoring the role of stress and sleep. Most people focus only on food, but forget that hormones work as a team. When stress levels stay high, the body releases cortisol, which raises blood sugar and, in turn, raises insulin. Even a perfect diet can't overcome chronic stress. Poor sleep has a similar effect. Just a few nights of inadequate rest can make your body less sensitive to insulin, forcing it to release more of the hormone for the same amount of food. Over time, this slows metabolism and mimics the effects of overeating. Rest and relaxation are not luxuries, they're essential parts of the insulin equation. A subtle but common pitfall is depending too much on diet foods or artificial sweeteners. Many products labeled as sugar-free or low-fat can still raise insulin levels. Some artificial sweeteners trick your body into expecting sugar, which can trigger a mild insulin response even without real sugar. Low-fat foods often replace fat with starches that spike insulin just as much. It's always better to eat real, whole foods in moderate portions than to rely on processed diet versions that confuse your hormones. Another mistake is cutting out all carbohydrates completely. While lowering carbs can help manage insulin, going to extremes can lead to fatigue, irritability, and hormonal imbalance, especially in women. A smarter approach is to control when and how you eat carbs, pair them with protein or fiber, and time them around physical activity instead of eliminating them entirely. Finally, inconsistency often undermines. Many people follow an insulin-friendly routine for a few days, then return to grazing, late-night eating, or high-sugar weekends. Insulin responds to long-term habits, not short bursts of effort. It takes consistent patterns, steady meal timing, balanced nutrition, and regular rest to reset how your body manages insulin. A few weeks of consistency can dramatically improve your metabolism, but only if you stick with it. These are the hidden traps that quietly slow fat burning and make it seem like nothing works. Avoiding them allows your insulin trick to work smoothly, helping your body stay balanced while burning fat naturally. The insulin trick becomes far more powerful when supported by the right habits. These factors don't just lower insulin temporarily, they improve your body's sensitivity to it, helping your metabolism stay balanced throughout the day. When your lifestyle aligns with how insulin naturally functions, fat burning becomes smoother and more consistent. One of the strongest supporting factors is movement. Regular exercise, even light daily activity, improves insulin sensitivity. Active muscles respond better to insulin, allowing glucose to enter cells efficiently without requiring large amounts of the hormone. When you move, whether it's walking briskly, climbing stairs, stretching, or doing resistance training, You make insulin's job easier. The more active your muscles are, the less insulin your body needs, and the longer your fat-burning windows become. Even a short, sure-minute walk after meals helps muscles absorb glucose and lowers insulin spikes. Over time, consistent activity reduces baseline insulin levels and prevents insulin resistance from developing. Sleep is another critical factor. Poor or short sleep disrupts your body's hormonal rhythm, raising both cortisol and insulin levels. Sleeping less than 6 hours regularly makes cells less responsive to insulin, forcing your body to produce more. This leads to increased hunger, stronger cravings, and slower fat loss. A good night's rest allows your hormones to reset, lowers cortisol, and improves insulin efficiency. Even adjusting your bedtime by 1 hour can have a noticeable impact on metabolism. Stress management is equally important. Chronic stress keeps cortisol high, which triggers the release of glucose into the bloodstream. That rise in blood sugar forces insulin to spike, even if you haven't eaten much. Daily stress from work, traffic, or emotional pressure can quietly keep insulin elevated for hours. Practicing deep breathing, meditation, light stretching, or short outdoor walks helps calm your body and stabilize hormones. A relaxed body burns fat more efficiently than a stressed one. Another effective way to support the insulin trick is through your food choices, especially fiber, protein, and healthy fats. These nutrients slow down how quickly glucose enters the bloodstream, leading to gradual insulin responses instead of sharp spikes. This keeps blood sugar stable, reduces hunger, and allows your body to spend more time in a low insulin, fat-burning state. Foods like vegetables, whole grains, lentils, eggs, nuts, and olive oil not only nourish the body, but also help regulate insulin naturally. Adding fiber to every meal makes a significant difference because it slows down sugar absorption, preventing sharp insulin spikes. Just as important is avoiding ultra-processed carbohydrates and sugars. Foods like white bread, sweets, chips, and soft drinks digest too quickly, causing insulin to rise rapidly and then crash, leading to hunger and cravings. Reducing these foods helps stabilize insulin and supports fat loss, while replacing them with whole, unrefined foods keeps digestion slower and energy levels steady. Staying hydrated also supports insulin balance. Even mild dehydration can reduce your body's ability to manage glucose efficiently, causing insulin to rise. Drinking enough water throughout the day helps maintain steady blood sugar levels and supports overall metabolism. Building consistent daily routines enhances the effect of all these habits. Going to bed at a regular time, eating meals within set windows, and staying active every day help synchronize your hormonal cycles. When your body feels safe and predictable, insulin stays steady, cortisol remains low, and fat burning becomes your body's natural default mode. Now, it's important to understand that the insulin trick isn't a magic shortcut. It works best when combined with balanced eating, movement, and patience. Lowering insulin helps the body shift toward fat burning mode, but that transformation takes time. The goal isn't rapid weight loss that fades quickly, but a gradual, sustainable change your body can maintain comfortably. Many people expect visible results in a week, but if your body has spent years coping with irregular meals, stress, or poor sleep, it needs time to reset. It may take several weeks before you notice differences in energy, appetite, or fat loss. That's completely normal. Your body first restores hormonal balance and insulin sensitivity before it starts releasing stored fat efficiently. Focusing on the process rather than rushing the results makes the changes long-lasting. This approach should always be followed safely. If you have a medical condition such as diabetes, thyroid issues, or metabolic disorders, it's essential to consult your doctor before making significant changes. Some medications directly affect insulin or blood sugar, and adjusting your diet or meal timing too quickly can interfere with their effects. A healthcare professional can guide you in adapting the plan safely to your needs. For those taking insulin or blood sugar lowering medications, even small dietary shifts can alter glucose levels, so gradual adjustments are safer than sudden changes. Start by increasing the gaps between meals, slowly cutting down refined carbs, or reducing snacks one step at a time. Let your body adapt naturally. Pay attention to signs like dizziness, unusual fatigue, or appetite changes. These can mean your body needs a slower transition. Everyone's insulin response is different. Some people feel more energetic within days, while others take longer to notice results. Age, gender, stress, activity level, and sleep quality all influence your progress. Comparing your journey to others can create unnecessary frustration. Focus instead on how you feel and whether your habits are improving steadily. Proper hydration, balanced nutrition, and mental calm should never be overlooked. Restricting food too harshly or skipping meals without adequate nourishment raises cortisol, which can increase insulin and slow progress. The goal is to let insulin drop naturally and gently, not to stress your body. This approach should feel sustainable, not exhausting. You shouldn't feel weak, dizzy, or deprived. If you do, it's a sign to slow down and make smaller adjustments. Real whole foods, good sleep, stress management, and consistent routines form the foundation for balanced insulin and lasting health. Once these elements align, fat loss happens naturally as your metabolism becomes more efficient. Now you know the true secret to faster fat loss, not another diet or supplement, but a smarter way to work with your body's insulin response. Try this approach for one full week and observe how your energy, hunger, and mood begin to shift. Track your progress and notice the small but powerful changes. If you've struggled with stubborn fat or slow progress before, this could be the key you've been missing. Consistency is what unlocks. Just one focused week can show you what your body is capable of when insulin finally works in your favor. If this message resonated with you, share your experience or challenges so others on the same path can find encouragement. Stay tuned in the next part. We'll explore the foods that can silently destroy your insulin control if you're not careful. Understanding them can make all the difference in your transformation.